Right there. You see the point? Yeah, you see it right there.
Yeah, thanks, sorry.
No, you're fine. He's standing next to the guy in that hoodie.
So we have like a cemetery out there, and they have the actual cemetery where the veterans are buried. And that's where my uncle
Good morning. Welcome to this morning's Veterans Day program. As we begin, I would ask that you please rise for the posting of the colors and remain standing through the national anthem.
Oh, say and can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the guns bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Maybe seated. Again, good morning. My name is Tim Hadley. Thank you. My name is Tim Hadley. I'm the high school principal here at Oelwein and currently serving as a chaplain in the Iowa Army National Guard. Mr. Ain, our district superintendent, will share many thank yous at the conclusion of this program. However, I would like to begin with two of my own. First, I would like to thank God for the opportunity He has provided for service to my country. Second, I would like to thank my family, Bethany, Selah, and Isaiah, for the many sacrifices you have made to allow my service as well. Today we'll talk a lot about service members, but please remember, families serve too. We are gathered here this morning all across America to remember that we are one nation with one flag. We are proud to be Americans that live in a free society made up of many people, many races, from many walks of life. The freedom we enjoy today does not come without a price. We can worship as we see fit. We can raise our children to believe as we do. We can travel from one end of this great nation to the other and not have to ask permission to go. We are free to vote for whomever we feel should be in government office, and we answer to no one but our feelings. We have the right to succeed, and we have the right to fail at whatever endeavor we wish to pursue. The United States of America was founded on the ideals of freedom, justice, and equality. Our nation stands as a shining beacon of liberty and freedom to the rest of the world. We thank those who pledged their lives to keep us free, and we shall not forget you. We shall remember. There are among us today veterans of wars and conflicts that America has had to fight to protect the innocent and oppressed. America has always been the first nation to stand up for the freedom of people from around the world. We're here today to say thank you, and we are honored to know you. These men and women are part of the best trained, best equipped force in the world. We honor them and their families for their sacrifices they make. When you see a veteran or an active duty member of the armed services, take a moment to say thank you. We owe them our way of life, and a moment of your time is well spent. Quoting our 40th President of the United States, President Ronald Reagan, he said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction." We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed to them to do the same. For one day, we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States where men were free. Today we show united in front of gratitude and respect across the United States of America as we remember the fallen, we honor those who serve, and we teach our children the value of freedom. At this time, I would invite those who hear their song to please stand so their service can be recognized as the OHS concert band plays the Armed Forces Salute. The Coast Guard. The Air Force. At this time, I would like to invite the Oelwein Legion Honor Guard for the folding of the flag.
How you doing? Yeah. What? At every armed forces base of the United States and the ships at sea, there is a ceremony at sunset where the flag is lowered, folded in a triangle, and kept under watch throughout the night as a tribute to our nation's dead. The next morning, it is brought out, and at the ceremony of reveille, it is raised again as a symbol of strength of this nation. And salute. The first fold of our flag is a symbol of life. The second fold is a symbol of our belief that our Constitution is the foundation of our American democracy. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of our veterans departing our ranks, who have gave a portion of their life for the defense of our country to attain peace throughout the world. The fourth fold represents our weaker nature, for as American citizens, we trust in our God, for it is human nature to turn to a higher being in times of peace as well as times of war for divine guidance. The fifth fold is a tribute to our country, for in the words of Stephen Decatur, our country, in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but it is still our country, right or wrong. The sixth fold is where our hearts lie, for it is with our heart that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The seventh fold is a tribute to our armed forces, For it is through the armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all her enemies, whether they be found within or outside the boundaries of this republic. The eightfold is a tribute to those who entered in the valley of the shadow of death, that they might see the light of day. The ninefold is a tribute to womanhood, for it has been through their faith, love, loyalty, and devotion that the character of men and women who have made this country great have been molded. The tenfold is a tribute to our fathers, for they, too, have given their sons and daughters for the defense of our country since they were first born. The 11th fold demonstrates the spiritual nature of which our nation was founded on. The 12th fold in the eyes of a generous and loving nation represents a symbol of those who love thy neighbor as thyself. The 13th fold. When the flag is completely folded and tucked in, it takes on the appearance of a cocked hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington and the sailors and the Marines who served under Captain John Paul Jones, who were followed by their comrades and shipmates in the armed forces of the United States, preserving us the rights, privileges, and freedoms we enjoy today. So the next time you see a flag ceremony honoring someone that has served either in the armed forces or in civilian services such as police or fire department, keep in mind all the important reasons behind each and every fold, that they have paid an enormous sacrifice for all of us by honoring our flag and our country. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Oelwein American Legion. We appreciate your service and your continued service for our community and nation. Also, I don't want to forget Jake's one request. He wanted us to thank his daughter Leslie for a beautiful slideshow that some of you saw earlier as you came in. With her permission, if we get her permission, we'll post it out onto the Facebooks and YouTubes and all the things. But how about a big hand for Leslie Yerson? Also, I really only did that because she absolutely did not want to be recognized. So, you're welcome. At this time, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce again the OHS Concert Choir, who will be performing Thank You, Soldiers.
Stay there. standing on your feet, keeping watch, protecting shore to shore, in the air and oceans too, defending freedom at all costs, for the red, the white, and blue. Thank you, oh thank you, men and women, brave and strong, to those who serve so gallantly, we sing this grateful song. To the soldiers who have traveled on, to countries far and near, in peace and war you paid the price for the cause you hold so dear, that we may wake each morning bright and know that freedom brings, because of your great sacrifice, your country joys to sing. Thank you, oh thank you, men and women, brave and strong, to those who serve so gallantly, we sing this grateful song. Thank you, oh thank you, men and women, brave and strong, to those who serve so gallantly, we sing this grateful song.
Many thanks again to our Oelwein concert choir. Absolutely phenomenal. And a special thank you to Ms. Sue, who dedicated so much time to our community. Thank you very much. As our choir students take a seat, I want to take a moment to introduce our guest speaker. Lieutenant Colonel Randall Stanford was born and raised in eastern Iowa near Independence. He spent 4 years on active duty as an infantryman before returning to Iowa and joining the Iowa National Guard. Lieutenant Colonel Stanford has deployed to Kosovo twice, Iraq and Afghanistan once each. He has served in many leadership positions throughout his career to include team leader, squad leader, platoon leader, troop commander, battalion OIC, and brigade OIC. Stanford has been very lucky to attend several Army schools to include Ranger, Airborne, Air Assault, Pathfinder, and others. If you don't know what those are, they're kind of a big deal. They're really hard. Stanford's military awards include the Bronze Star, Meritorious Service Medal, 4th Award, Army Commendation Medal, 9th Award, Army Achievement Medal, 9th Award, Ranger Tab, Expert Infantry Badge, Combat Action Badge, and the German Airborne Badge, among others. He is a 2005 graduate of the Fast Track OCS through Alabama. Stanford received a bachelor's degree in business from Grandview College, Des Moines, Iowa in 2004. He then attended Grantham University, Kansas City, Missouri, where he earned his master's degree in business administration in 2011. He currently serves as the battalion commander for the Iowa Recruiting and Retention Battalion. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big Oelwein welcome to one of my personal favorite human beings on the entire planet, Lieutenant Colonel Randall Stanford.
Thank you, everyone. I'm really glad to be here, and I know Chaplain Hadley hates. I don't like when people read my bio, And so I'm Randall Stanford. I'm from Quaski. I like to tell people that because there's not a whole lot of stuff in Quaski. And I went to East Buchanan, and I tell people that because there's nothing special about me. You read that bio. Sometimes people see my title. Sometimes people see my awards, all the stuff that I've done. There's no wow. Some people are like, whoa. There's nothing extraordinary or special about me. I'm just another kid who grew up in Northeast Iowa, just like all of you. And I'm proud of that. I lived in Des Moines for most of my adult life. I still say I'm from Quaski because I'm proud of that. So I do appreciate the opportunity to come and speak today. Public speaking is not my passion, but it is one of my favorite things to do as part of my job because I like to spread the message and I like to talk about service to our country and all the things that it's done for me. I should have warned you before I started. I get pretty excited. I can talk pretty fast, use my hands a lot, and I'll probably walk around. But that's just kind of who I am, so I'll apologize up front for that. When I knew I was coming, I like to think about every speech. I like to make it my own. I really put a lot of thought and energy into the message that I want to deliver because I want to make the most of the time that I have with you to get that out there. And so today, so you don't even have to think about it, I'm going to talk about sacrifice. That's number one. And then the underlying message that you'll hear is humility. Those are two very important things to me, and I think they're very important to a lot of veterans. Sacrifice, humility. So I didn't want to read a speech. I didn't want to, we have a canned speech that our National Guard provides. I didn't want to read that, right? You have history teachers. You learn about Veterans Day through school, and that's their piece. And so I'd rather spend my time talking about veterans. I'd rather talk about who we are. Where do we come from? Are we different than anybody else? And why do we get our own special day? So before I get into that, and I know we recognize veterans, but I'd like every veteran to stand and be recognized. For your service and your sacrifice. So when I think about veterans, the first thing that comes to my mind is sacrifice. And I remember going to my great-grandma's house, and my grandpa had 7 brothers and sisters. And there was a picture on the wall with all 8 of them. All 8 of them served in the military in some way, shape, or form. 2 of my grandpa's brothers were drafted to be professional baseball players. My grandpa had a full scholarship to go play baseball at the University of Iowa. They all threw those dreams aside. They all sacrificed to go do what needed to be done, to sacrifice and serve for their country. Every brother and sister, all 8, served in our armed forces, and they gave up their dreams of playing baseball and all that stuff to go serve our country. And that's weighed on me my whole life. I remember looking at those pictures and thinking, I want to do that. I want to be like those guys. And luckily, I've had the opportunity to do that. And so all veterans, they gave up opportunities. They sacrificed to be part of something bigger than themselves. They sacrificed to defend our country, our freedoms, and our way of life. When I was your age, I didn't really understand that sacrifice. I didn't know what it meant. My grandpa and his siblings, they never talked about it. They didn't say a word. They didn't want any recognition. They didn't want any credit. They just did what needed to be done without being asked, and they came home and they carried on with their lives. There's a lot of, I have a ton of respect for that, and I think it's something that we're missing some days. You don't need recognition. You don't need glory. You just need to go do what needs to be done to help our country and sustain our way of life. So veterans are the 1%. The 1% that volunteer to leave home. They leave their families. They leave their warm beds. They leave the internet. They leave fast food. Everything, every comfort, they leave. They make that choice to walk away and leave all that behind to sustain our way of life that we enjoy here in America. And the older I get, the longer I serve, the better I understand that sacrifice. Every sacrifice is different. Whether you serve in the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps, or Coast Guard. Whether you served at home or abroad. Whether you served during peacetime or wartime, there was a sacrifice. And that sacrifice could range from 1 year or 1 month away, or it could be the ultimate sacrifice of giving your life for our country. And so there's no too small or too big. They all sacrificed no matter when they served or what they did. They are all veterans, and they all earn that title. So who are we? Who are veterans? We're no one. We're everyone. We could be anyone. We're parents, husbands, sisters, brothers, wives, children, aunts, uncles, cousins, brothers and sisters. We're welders. We're farmers. We're astronauts. We're doctors. We're lawyers. We're teachers. We're social workers. We are made up of the fabric of our society. And we were all kids who volunteered to defend our way of life and freedom that we enjoy in this great nation. We come from poor families. We come from rich families. All walks of life from every area of our country. Veterans are normal people just like you. They might carry some baggage. They might have seen some things or done some things that they prefer never to talk about. They might be a hero, or they might have been a cook. They might have done paperwork to process awards. It doesn't matter. You might never know it because they never talk about it. They don't want any credit. But they did it for you, and they did it for our way of life, and they expect nothing in return. I think that's why veterans get their own day. If we want it or not, all veterans should be recognized and celebrated at least once a year. Me personally, I hate the recognition. I don't like it. But I realize that it's part of the job. And when someone thanks me for my service, I tell them it's my pleasure. I'm lucky that I get to wear this uniform every day. I'm lucky that I've gotten to do the things that I've been able to do. And it's truly my pleasure. And all I want to do is fill the shoes of those that came before me. I want to fill the shoes of my grandfather and his brothers and sisters. And I want to make sure that my kids and their kids and your kids can live free and enjoy the same freedoms that we enjoy today. As part of that, I want to thank all the employers. I want to thank all the families. And Chaplain Hadley mentioned that. We don't serve alone, and we could not do what we do without employers letting us go, without families holding down the home front while we're gone. Because, like I said, we leave from a day or a week or a month to a year. And back in the Greatest Generation, they left for 2 or 3 years. And everything carried on back here. And so I'm just trying to live up to that level. Military service isn't for everyone. If you can't serve, and if you don't want to serve, or that's not your piece, I would encourage you to find a way that you can serve, a way that you can sacrifice, a way that you can do something for somebody else, whether it's your time, your energy, your brain, your money, whatever it is. How can you help your community, your state, your nation be a better place than it is today? I want to thank you for inviting me here today. It's truly my pleasure, and I want to wish everyone a happy Veterans Day.
Sir, it's our pleasure to have you here as well. It's my pleasure. It's our pleasure. But this plaque says Veterans Day, Oelwein High School, 2021. Lieutenant Colonel R. Stanford, in appreciation for your dedicated service to our country and for being the guest speaker on Veterans Day. So, sir, I know you've received a lot of awards and a lot of plaques. However, this one is extra special. Here's why. This was made by a veteran and an Oelwein Community School District employee, Mr. Jesse Dinsdale. So thank you, Mr. Dinsdale. So, from veterans to veterans, thank you for all you do and your encouraging remarks to serve today. Thank you. We have a few extra kind of special things at the end here, but one of I'm most excited about is Mr. Regan reached out to me and asked if he could play a song called The Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. Some of you maybe have heard it. However, what's special about our artist today and our singer today is he is also a veteran of the Armed Forces and is also an Oelwein School District employee, so it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Chet Regan.
Hi. A year ago, we'll get to that after I'm done. We'll see if I can tell a story. Thanks for coming today. I wanted to tell you that the freedoms that we enjoy are not secured in the U.S. Senate. The freedoms that we enjoy are not secured in the House of Representatives. They're not secured in the White House. They're secured by veterans, active duty, reserve, their families. And despite what you say, what you see students on your news feed, in the news, on your TikTok feed or Snapchat feed or whatever, it's still okay to be patriotic and to love your country. I want to let you know it's okay to do that. Also, this song was written as a response to 9/11, which the anniversary was this year, 20 years, and we depended on our military to maybe settle a little score of a sneak attack on the United States. So, students, would you like to make a deal? I'm going to take up every minute that they're allowing me, which isn't very much, but if I can make you laugh, do you promise to stand up and sing along? Fair? Fair? Okay. First and foremost, Leo, go ahead. First slide. No? Didn't get anybody? Okay. Well, I got somebody. Somebody's standing and singing. It's going to be a duet. I need to tell you, when we call on the military to secure our freedom, it's our way of telling other countries, we're done. We're done. Gotcha. All right. American girls and American guys will always stand up and remember, and will recognize when we see old glory fly. There's a lot of men dead, so we can sleep at peace tonight when we lay down our head. My daddy served in the army, where he lost his right eye, but he flew a flag out in the yard till the day he died. He wanted my mother, my brother, my sister, and me to grow up and live happy in the land of the free. Now this nation that I love is falling under attack. The mighty sucker punch came flying in from somewhere in the back. Soon as we could see clear through our big black eye, man, we lit up your line like the 4th of July. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of the list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist, and the eagle will fly. And I'm here to tell, when you hear Mother Freedom start ringing her bell, you'll feel like the whole wide world on you. I brought to you Jersey of the red, white, and blue. On justice will be served and the battle will rage. Come on, Leo, your papers behind. This big dog will fight when you rattle his cage. You'll be sorry that you messed with the U.S. of A. Had to change the lyric. 'Cause we'll stand up and shout, it's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist, and the eagle will fly. And I'm here to tell, when you hear Mother Freedom start ringing her bell, it'll feel like the whole wide world is raining down on you. All brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue. Of the red, white, and blue. Of my red, white, and blue.
Mr. Reading. At this time, I would like to ask you to please rise as we begin to conclude today's program with a very special event in the honoring of a military serviceman or woman. It's one of the last things that is done prior to lowering them into their final resting place. Many of you witnessed the flagpole earlier by our Oelwein American Legion, their honor guard. One of the very last things, traditionally after the flagpole, is a gun salute followed by taps. Today, taps will be performed by our very own Oelwein band students.
And Luke.
Thank you. You may be seated as Mr. Ain comes to close us out. Thank you.
Testing. Okay, as we wrap up here, I got a few thank yous to give out. First of all, I want to thank our students, not just the roughly 700 sitting here today, but also the ones watching at home, watching in their classrooms as we stream this live. So thank you for your attention and for helping us honor our veterans. Special thank you to Mr. McBride and our concert band, and to Ms. Fueling and Sue and our concert choir for your performances today. Shout out to Mr. Hadley for being our MC, also being a service member and your principal. Special thank you to the Ross Reed American Legion Honor Guard for all your support and holding this event every single year. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you to the staff of the Williams Center for the Performing Arts for allowing us to have this event here. And last thank you, before we retire the colors, I'd like to ask the veterans to stay seated while the rest of us now stand and say thank you. Last shout out to Lieutenant Colonel Sanders for being here today. What a great speech. Round of applause for him again. As you think about honoring our veterans, particularly this message for our students, and Lieutenant Colonel Stanford mentioned this, it's 16, 17, and 18-year-olds that are making the decision to give up their dreams, to give up what could be next, to go running into the fire. And that is why they're heroes, and that is why we honor their sacrifice every single year. So hopefully some of you kids can recognize and empathize with what it would be like as a 17, 18-year-old kid to give up everything to go serve for the love of your country. With that, I'd ask everybody to please rise and remain silent as the American Legion Honor Guard retires our colors. may be seated. All right, with that, I thank everybody for coming today, especially for our veterans for being here. We sincerely appreciate it. Middle schoolers, actually, if you're on students, or if you're in this wing, we ask you to please go out that side door. High school students, if you're on this wing, please use this front door here so we can keep the traffic out of the back lobby as best as possible. Again, thank you for attending the 2021 Veterans Day program. And to our veterans, one final thank you.
Hello, Red Bull.